Hello, I'm Phil Dobbie and welcome to On the Couch. It's a phrase we've all heard, work smarter, not harder. Of course, it's easier said than done. People have their theories, get the cold calling out of the way in the morning, organise documents in the afternoon, get just the right level of caffeine throughout the day, delegate more, and so on. But what's the hard and fast evidence about smart versus not so smart workers? And if we're in the not so smart category, how can we change that? Well, once again, Dr. Jess is here with free advice to sort out your working life once and for all. Dr. Jess, we tend to look to America, don't we? In Australia we do anyway, and say, you know, they've got it all sorted out in terms of the world of work. And I mean, can we do that this time and say, well, look, you know, they've got it right in terms of working smart?
Well, this will amaze you. And a recent article in The Economist, apparently the French are the most productive.
Right.
I know as an Englishman you're shocked.
Yeah, well, I'm not allowed to agree with you. No,
okay.
Of course. But for what reason?
Well, one of the reasons is that they have a contained work week. So they have the 40-hour week as normal. And therefore they have learned to be more focused on the productive stuff in that shorter amount of time. I also think, and this is a theory, that there are other things in place with the French in terms of sort of social services that they don't have to worry about, like medical and so forth. So I think that their focus can be on work.
So if we've just got a certain amount of time, we're going to use that time well. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if you've got longer hours, which it's certainly the Australian way, I think we've got some of the longest hours in the world. We're spending a lot of that time, obviously, just filling in and dabbling about.
Well, I think there's busy work versus productive work, and one of the things that you need to do is learn to focus on things that are productive rather than just busy. And I suppose the longer the day we have, the more we feel the need to fill it up with stuff, obviously, appear to be working.
Yeah.
And the other thing that we need to learn to do is to work in parallel. So if you're focused and organised, say you have a report to write and some sort of a spreadsheet to work on, all right? Say the report needs to be seen by your manager in first draft. So write that first draft, send it off to the manager while you're working on the spreadsheet, some sort of accounting procedure that you need to go into too. So that's working in parallel rather than multitasking.
No, you're talking to a man here. We better get onto that whole male-female difference thing in a second. First of all, though, open plan offices, I mean, they're a distraction, aren't they, for people trying to be productive?
Yeah, I think for certain people, open planned offices are not good. People who love to talk and people who are people-focused, I think that can be a hotbed of distraction, can't it?
Yeah.
I think that if you don't want to participate within the normal kind of flow of conversation, you could even put, a Genies at Work sign up or something like that. Make sure that you set some norms.
You've done that, haven't you?
Yes,
I can tell.
yes.
Yeah.
If you don't have a door, make sure that you set some norms and that you learn to say no and to be boundaried. I think learning to say no, a lot of the clients that come to me for like work issues, one of the reasons they come is that they're overworked. Yeah. People often quite high up. And one of the things that we work on is they're saying no. No with no explanation at the end of it. No, I'm just not going to do it. And that seems to be incredibly difficult for some people. So you have to cultivate the no.
With a full stop firmly at the end of it. Right. Now, you're a woman, I've noticed.
Yes.
As we've been
I was
working
this
together
morning.
over the weeks. And so, of course, women are vastly superior at multitasking. They're also very good at telling men how good they are at multitasking. Is it true? Does it make a difference? And can I get a straight answer from you on this?
Well, I have to say that unfortunately, while women are better multitaskers, we have a section of our brain, the corpus callosum, that allows us to lateralize.
No. Is that the bit that's off thinking about shoes?
Well, it can spontaneously think about shoes and
other things.
Vacuuming.
Right.
Yeah. Apparently, that's not helpful. One of the things that psychologists have learned is what we call task switching. Right? Women, I think, have been hardwired to task switch because when they have been caring for young, they do have to do a lot of things on a shallow level. And so that's a useful thing, I suppose, for the survival of the species. In the office environment, not so useful. So this kind of work in parallel notion where you focus on one thing completely. Because when you're working on a report or something, you have to get some momentum going. Do you know when you're writing, for instance, that you don't kind of get into it and then suddenly you're really into it. Somebody comes in and wants to talk to you and you go, get away, I'm really I've got my,
and takes
got my mojo, I'm flowing, So that's that's the better way to work. So as much as I would like to say that women are superior,
Right.
in this instance, that multitasking, multi-switching, because you're switching on and off whole rule systems in your mind. You have to repress certain skills while you're bringing up other skills. So if you're constantly kind of doing that push-pull in your mind, it's not going to allow your focus and the depth of thought that you really need.
So how do you get that? So that's a revelation. Thank you for that. So that depth of focus,
Yeah.
how do you get that? And how do you create it so that you can actually get through that work in the number of hours you've got in the day? How can I be French, in other words?
How could you be French? Apart from
Never
living
thought
there.
I was going to ask that question. But how can I be French?
Yeah, it's come to this, has it? Well, I think that having organisational structure for yourself, finding the tasks that, again, are productive rather than busy. Look, there are certain things that you may be able to hone in on that are all productive, and that you may be able to delegate certain things, like just filing things, organizational type things that are less productive for you, to somebody else, or make sure that you don't hide behind busy work. So if the filing organizational part is less productive, it brings in less business, creates less revenue, perhaps you should limit the amount of time that you're doing for those sorts of admin things.
Right. So are there certain types of personality that can adapt better to working smarter? I mean, smarter people, presumably, will adapt better, but different personality types?
I think that people who are really have a strong sense of their identity in their job. If not necessarily defined by their job, but that they really gain a sense of themselves in what they do, and so that there is kind of pride in performance and pride in that focus. So it also would create inevitably some self-esteem for a person to be focused.
Right. Okay. Well, you've been putting off writing that report for long enough now while you've been watching us talk today. Let's have a look at some of the takeouts. Well, the first one, be French. We've already covered that, I think. Prioritize, know your boundaries, differentiate busy from productive, and delegate routine tasks. I definitely like the sound of that one. That's it for On the Couch for today. We'll catch you next time.